welcome. I have to wait? Good afternoon, ladies. Hey. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this, the first ever Innotribe Startup Challenge here in Russia. My name's Kevin Johnson. I head innovation programs for Innotribe at Swift, and I'm going to be your host for today. You're going to hear a lot from me. You're going to hear a lot from my colleagues. You're going to hear a lot from the startups. But before you get too bored of me, I'm going to ask the Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Russia to come up and say a few words. So I apologize for saying your surname wrong in advance. And I'd like to welcome up onto the Innotribe stage, Olga Skorobogatova. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Well, indeed, it's a wonderful day today. That's exactly the first time when we host this kind of event here in Moscow and St. Petersburg. And we host it together with Swift. Indeed, this event was organized and agreed upon with my colleagues from Swift last year, and it was meant for us to have a look what the fintech companies we have here in Russia and if they could be recognized and acknowledged at the international level and what innovations they can offer. 160 companies applied for this competition. That's an unprecedented amount compared to other countries. I'm not going to provide any statistics. Let's keep it secret. But indeed, Russia went far beyond all our expectations. Out of 160, 10 were picked together jointly as most promising and challenging. Today and further on, we will need to pick 3 winners out of those 10 who will go to Cybus. But again, Cybus is not the goal in itself, because they won't just go to Cybus. Those are the companies that we, being a regulator and financial community, will collaborate and work jointly, because what our Russian innovators, technologists, and other professionals are doing is really in demand on the market. As a regulator, what do we expect from fintech and from startups? What do we expect from them today? As the central bank, together with the financial community, we have great plans for the coming 5-7 years. We want to overhaul technical infrastructure in the country. We want to become technological leader. For that, we need our Russian brains and our Russian developments so that we could be ahead of other countries. Swift, sorry for saying that, but we won't become a leader. So I believe that this event is of extreme importance for us, and the winners will be supported by us as a regulator so that they could promote their products and services. I think that not just 3 winners will get this opportunity. 7 companies that out of those 2 will also be scrutinized by us in terms of possibility to apply the technologies and solutions in the financial market. Overall, I believe that Russia has fantastic human resources, fantastic professionals, and we have always proven that to the world. I'm hopeful that in the nearest future, in 3-4 years, we will see our Russian companies performing greatly, not just at the Russian market, but internationally. And I wish good luck to all of us on this pathway. Thank you all, and hopefully we'll have an exciting day today. We will pick the best out of the best, and good luck once again. Thank you.
Very much for your kind words. I'd just like to pick up on a few things there. So, yes, 3 of these winners will go to Cybos, but yeah, It's about the 10 that are here today. They've been through coaching. There are some amazing companies here, and I think every one of them will be winners. All of them have got solutions that the financial industry can work with, so please listen when they come up on stage. But I'd like to take another couple of minutes of your time to welcome up my colleague from SWIFT, our head of Russia, CIS and Mongolia, Matthieu de Heering. Matthieu, stage is yours.
Коллеги, здравствуйте.
Dear colleagues, good afternoon. Kevin, Olga, thank you. And above all, good luck to all of you, to all the startups. But indeed, you are already the winners. Just to think, we had 160 applications, but to pick 10 out of the 20 was the most difficult thing. So potentially, the other 10 startups are the good candidates for the next challenge. We were impressed by your performance. Again, following up what has been said, we want to thank the Bank of Russia because it's, again, so important for us to have an Innotribe event here in St. Petersburg. We contacted the Bank of Russia with this really bold suggestion to host this event here at this Congress. So I want to thank the executive directorate and SWIFT managers here in Russia, because without the joint support, and that was a joint endeavor indeed, and we've organized this event really swiftly and efficiently, and that's one of the messages of my presentation. And I want to thank the members of SWIFT who comprised the task force, including Alpha Bank, MTB, and some other companies, because without their support, without their coaching, we had the coaches from the Silicon Valley and from Russia. We have been working long hours until 2 in the morning. We did and redid our presentations, and I hope you cannot agree more that the quality of the presentations will be extremely high. It will be aimed at your potential investors, at the banking environment, at your customers. So the bottom line is thank you all participants, contributors. Good luck to all of you, and we'll be happy to see you in Toronto, where within the Innotribe Startup Challenge, we will have the special section where 3 winners will share their view of the startup life in Russia together with the colleagues from the task force and other colleagues. That's a good information opportunity at the Innotribe Startup Challenge in Toronto. Again, good luck and thank you.
If I could actually ask you two to unmic, because we're going to need those very shortly. So, back to me. So, both of you, thank you very much for your kind words. What I want to do today is talk to you a little bit about how Innotribe works with startups and how we help them. So like we said, this is the first time we've done this in Russia, but we've been running our startup challenge since 2011. And our value proposition to the startups is not, it's a cash prize. What we're trying to do is help these young entrepreneurial companies connect with the financial ecosystem, to go from a startup to a provider and a supplier to the financial industry. And we help them with coaching. So since Monday, the team has been on the ground with support both from members of the task force, from Silicon Valley, from London, from Belgium, to bring that experience that we've got of working with startups to what's going on here in Russia, to help them focus on the problem they're solving for the financial industry, so that when you actually hear this problem, if you're facing the same challenges, you can actually look at working with them. We also give the startups a huge amount of exposure. We go through international press, we do partner with conferences such as this one here, so thank you, to give these startups exposure not just locally, but globally. We truly believe in supporting emerging innovation ecosystems, those ecosystems that are ripe to take it to the next level, and if we can play a very small part in helping that, we're very happy. I'm going to not do that with my microphone again. But we also provide networking, and this is why we open the doors to bring all of you in. When the challenge and the competition is over, these startups are still here. Speak to them. Understand them. Get them into meetings to find out how they can work with you to help your businesses go to the next level. Part of the Innotribe methodology does involve a cash prize, but to me that is the cherry on the cake. Everything else that we do for these startups is actually about giving them sustainable footing as they go forward. The cash prize is just a nice thing to do at the end. And we have a process that we do this. We've been doing this for a while. So as we've said, there's a huge number of applications that come in. And there isn't 2 or 3 of us look at these and go, I like that one, I don't like that one. We actually put all of the startups in front of an international judging panel. So each of the startups that you see here, each of the ones that we mentioned, were in front of 10 to 15, both venture capitalists, investors, technology companies, bankers, innovators, to give a really rounded global evaluation of the startups. From that, we selected the 10 highest scoring ones to bring here to the International Financial Congress. We came over on Monday, and we've actually spent 4 days with these teams, putting them through some coaching. Having listened to all your presentations, and this is to the startups, just the progress we've seen from Monday to today, you've taken everything we've sold you on board. And I'm going to say properly thank you later, but we're asking these companies to come here in front of their home customers, explain their innovations in a new way and in a different language. So we're asking them to really go out of that comfort zone, because this is more than just solutions for Russia. We truly believe there are some solutions that we're seeing today that can have impact on the global stage. So the videos that we're doing are going to be in English, so we can expose them to that. When we do Cybos, it will be in English to get that global impact, which is why we do it in English. So we may have pushed you. We know some of your English isn't as good, but it's a hell of a lot better than my Russian. So yeah, it's been amazing. At the end of today, 3 of the companies are going to win tickets to Cybos, which is in Toronto. But I hope we'll also see some of you there as well. So my first thank you is to our coaches. Without the coaches, the startups that you're going to see later on would not be able to come up on stage. So we've got coaches from the NSD, we've had Raffenstein Bank, we've had Sberbank in the room, we've had the Central Bank in the room. We've also brought Silicon Valley, Belgium and London together. And it's really that team together, that outside expertise, coupled with that local knowledge, has actually helped create and craft these. So from me, from Innotribe, from Swift, thank you very much to our coaches. So thank you. Now that's for the startups. To get me standing here on stage at part of the International Financial Congress, we've had a whole task force of people on the ground and outside supporting us. Innotribe itself is supported by Hewlett-Packard. They allow us to actually do these programs. But without the help of the Financial Congress and the Bank of Russia, we wouldn't be here. And they've also been supported by Alpha Bank, the National Settlement Depository, the NSD, Sberbank and Rosswift. And it's really been a community-driven approach. The reason we're here isn't because Innotribe wanted to come to Russia. Russia asked Innotribe to come here. So through Matthieu, the community asked us to come here, and the community stepped up to bring us here. So thank you for welcoming us, being open, engaging, trusting us with your startups. So thank you very much. We've also had some information partners who've helped us. We don't speak Russian. We haven't got the connections into the local marketplace yet. So in addition to the task force, we've been working with people who work every day with startups to actually get that message out there, to explain what we're doing and to get them in there. So again, this is another thank you for helping spread that message. And finally, the startups. This showcase would be nothing without you. The journey that you've all been on has been phenomenal, and it's not over yet. When we started the Startup Challenge, one of the things we wanted to do was to try and understand fintech in Russia. What is it? What does fintech actually mean? And what does it mean from a Russian perspective? This map here is the result of all of the startups who applied and where they're innovating. If you're in financial services, there's a good chance your job is probably described in one of these circles. This is where fintech innovation is happening. We wanted to bring this to the Financial Congress rather than an innovation event so that you could really understand how these people can help transform and change your business. By exposing it to the business side of the banks as opposed to the innovation side and focusing on the business problems, we hope to give these startups a leg in or a leg up to actually really get into the banks and actually start working with you. In terms of what you're about to hear today, so we started a little bit later on, so the times are not exactly right. But we're going to start hearing the startup pitches very soon. But during some conversations I had both this week and before, people were asking me, what does Innotribe understand from fintech? So as a result, I'm going to talk to you in a little bit about something we call Fintech 2.0. Because what I need every single person in this room to do for the next couple of hours is take a leap of faith with me. What we're asking you to do is imagine tomorrow. Don't think about something that's going to hold you back. We're going to ask you how much you want to collaborate with these startups. Don't be grounded down by processes, by purchasing, by procurement, by the fact that you're paper-based instead of digital. Imagine yourself in a place where you go, that's a great idea, we could do something with it. And that's what we want to put in people's minds. Not, I can't do anything with this because, it's like, I would love to do something with these guys. And that's what we're looking for. And this is really how startups think. They don't see the problems, they see the opportunities, and that's what we're trying to bring to you. So I want to talk to you a little bit now, before we get started with the startups, about something we call Fintech 2.0. It's a journey from disruption to collaboration. I'm going to go back to the map, and this is why it's important. This is where innovation is happening. This is where the business of the financial industry is. This is where the business of fintech is. Fighting it means that the fintech startups are going to be speaking to your customers, because they are already. The fintechs are focused on solving a problem. The industry, in my experience, has the same sort of problems. So this is why we're saying collaboration is the key going forward. There was a recent McKinsey study about 1 year ago that said globally there are over 15,000 fintech companies. There are not 15,000 problems or challenges that the industry has, thank God. But I wanted to just start with why. Why are there so many fintech companies? And partly it's because of cost. If I go back to the year 2000, the cost to launch a
Стоимость запуска технологической компании составляет примерно $10 миллионов. Нужно получить лицензию, железо, опытных работников, и все должны сделать сами. Это возможно только для очень крупных компаний. Вот за 5 лет появился открытый код.
You can start leveraging other people's. That cost has dropped from 10 million to $500,000. Still expensive, but slightly more accessible. You jump forward another 4 years, and the era of cloud computing is coming in. Amazon Web Services led this. Now you can just go to Amazon and just fire up as many machines as you need to very, very quickly. And the cost has now dropped from $500,000 to $50,000. For somebody who's worked in the industry and left there, that's probably attainable. But jump forward just another 2 years, 10 billion iPhone apps have now been downloaded. The platforms that Silicon Valley is creating means there is now a fertile ground for startups to come and innovate on top of. So now you're at $5,000 to launch a startup. You've got new platforms coming along at the time, Azure, you've got Bluemix from IBM, you've got other platforms coming along, and this was 2015, they reckoned it was $50. If I stuck my neck out, I would say if I put today's date on there, the cost to launch a fintech startup is probably zero. So the cost of doing this is not there anymore. So there are lots of people out there trying to do this, which means the key to a successful fintech startup isn't the technology, that's not your differentiator, it's the problem you're solving. And that's what you're going to hear today. Everybody's going to talk about the problem they're solving. But why should we as an industry care about this? I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. I've got a daughter, I've got a son as well. She's now 5. This is what she thinks a phone is. Every time I get my iPhone out, she grabs it off me, she swipes across and she starts loading up all the apps and games she's playing on. She's been doing that for the past 2 years. When I was 5, this is what I thought a phone was. It was attached to the wall, it was clunky, it was a phone. When my father was 5, that's what he thought a phone was. Maybe showing my age a little bit. So it leads to the question, what's my grandchildren going to think of a phone when they're 5 years old? What are they going to think of as a bank? How are they going to interact? Because the pace of change is exponential. We're not going to slow this down, and the only way that we can survive and that we can remain relevant is, I think, through collaboration. I think as a financial industry, we have something on our side. This isn't all a bad news story. The financial industry has scale. It has trust. It has a loyal customer base. It's there, it's got solidity. Startups, on the other hand, have got agility. They've got speed. They've got laser-like focus. The picture on the left is the Burj Khalifa. It's the tallest building in the world. The picture on the right is the fastest car in the world. It's the Bloodhound SSC. It's a rocket-powered car. Bringing those two qualities together means it's going to be a win-win for everybody. Disruption, I think, is yesterday's buzzword. And we need to focus on the C word. That C word is collaboration. And this is how we do this at Innotribe. And this is what I want you all to do as you're listening to the pitches today. Step 1, identify. Identify the problem that you've got that you would like to investigate. Think about a challenge that you've got today that you can't solve, that you'd like to work with somebody. Once you've done that, you're going to be able to identify the right startups to speak to. Once you've found them, talk to them. They're nice people. We've been talking to them all week. Nobody's bitten my hand off. Nobody's threatened to kill me yet. And while you're talking, please listen. Because if you talk, and I am very guilty of this, as my team will tell me, you're giving everything away. Collaboration is about talking and listening together. And if you can do that, you can do a very important thing. You can learn. By listening and talking, you can learn. And once you've learned that what they're doing is right for you, you can invest. Everybody's going, ooh. I don't just mean invest in the traditional sense. I don't just mean put money on the table. The most important thing we as an industry can put on the table is our time. And when I say invest, I mean invest time. Because if you're investing time, you've said, this is important for me because I'm not doing something else. I've decided that this is more important than what I've got planned. I'm going to invest in this. I'm not going to do this just for a press release so it looks nice around the edges. I fundamentally believe this will be good for my business. And if you can do that, that will lead to a proof of concept, a proof of value, and hopefully a product. And for those of you who've been observant, this is our logo as well. Now, I'm going to get off the stage now for a while, and I'm going to hand you over to the host with our startups. My colleague, Tanguy, the floor is yours.
Tell you a little bit about how we're sorry, how we're going to run through today's activities. So Kevin told you we have our 10 finalists in the room. We've been spending the entire week with them to get them all ready. We've been going over and over and over their pitches, over and over and over their presentations, and now it's time for them to show them to you. So let's talk about how we're going to do this. In a few minutes, we're going to start. They're going to come up one by one. We're going to run them through an A to Z order by company name, and each company is going to get 6 minutes to give you their pitch. And by 6 minutes, we mean exactly 6 minutes because there's a buzzer and it cuts them off. After those 6 minutes, we're going to open to questions from the floor for 4 minutes, and then we'll have another buzzer to give us that. And that's all the time that they get. They get 6 minutes to explain something to you. They get 4 minutes to talk to you. Then what happens? We're going to ask you guys to vote. So on your chair, you should all have found a digi-voting wand. Everybody hold up your wand. Okay. After the end of the Q&A, and don't worry, we'll have a prompt on a slide for you, we're going to ask you to vote on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. How much would you like to work with this company? So as Kevin said, this is about collaboration. Think about it this way. Do they solve a problem that you have? Are you excited by what they do? In a perfect world, would you like to do something with them? I've also been asked to say, please do not take the digi-voting ones with you when you leave, because we do need them back. All right, without further ado, I'd like to start with the first company, BankEx. So let me welcome Igor on stage. Igor. Wait for it. 3, 2, 1, go. Your 6 minutes start now.
Good afternoon. My name is Igor Khmel. I'm the founder of BankEx. So I used to be also the banker. So I was working for Sberbank. I was running the innovation lab for Sberbank for 3 years. Since I left 1 year and a half in order to do my own company. So it started to be the BankEx Labs, Innovation Labs, and now it's become the platform, Proof of Asset Protocol. So we joined recently Symphony Foundation Software in New York. This is open source code foundation for chat protocol similar to Bloomberg, the top 50 financial ranking in London, and we're a partner of Microsoft. And now we're in Innotribe. So the problem that we're solving. So everybody knows that the world is not fair. So big companies get a lot of cash, therefore with low interest, while small companies, they got high interest and lack of money, and high barriers to entry and to get access. For instance, McDonald's has 130K branches, 15,000 or 130K branches in the US, and small businesses have the same amount of branches, but the access to the money and the cost of the capital completely different. So the problem is that this is the problem of liquidity. So if you just think how it's easy to find or difficult to find the life in the universe, that you see that is the only Earth, there are many things that come together in order you really get the life. So you need to get the right temperature, the right circulation, air, and the same with liquidity. So you need geo, you need time, you need legal and accounting costs done, you need demand, and then only this moment you will get the liquidity and you get anything cost and sold at their price. And there are many assets that cannot be sold, and they're just not liquid and waiting for a while when this moment is coming. So traditional way to solve it is securitization. So the process of taking a liquid assets or group of assets and through financial engineering transferring them to an equity or SPV. And the new way to solve this is tokenization, and where blockchain is coming. So it's the process of converting right to an asset into a digital token on blockchain to move real world assets onto blockchain to gain the advantages of crypto. So if you think the crypto is more liquid than most of the assets that we have right now on the market, it's more liquid even than bonds, it's more liquid than real estate, more liquid than art. So the market is huge. The market is more than 10 trillion. And just see on the some sections of that. So commodities. Brent was traditionally very liquid futures for the oil, while gold is already not so liquid, so you need just a particular place or the bank where you trade it. Lithium, nobody knows about the futures on the lithium. Carbon, CO2 is not liquid at all. We already have the clients for that. Debt. Bonds, of course, are liquid, but SME loans are not so it's quite difficult to make a securitization of SME loans because they were different. Mortgages, there is a real estate, there is a lot of buildings that are underutilized, it's just money that is on the, just you see every time on the street, that is, do not work. So our solution, what we do, we built a liquidity protocol. So we started from assets, then we applied tokenization engine, we come up with the tokens, and then these tokens we bring to the coins and then to the capital. So this is pretty much in the same way as what investment banks are doing. So we comes from the assets through tokenization that is equal to securitization to the capital. And just to work, how this works, so just to take a look under the hood. So in the same way as the investment banks, they were taking their assets and we're applying a third-party tokenizator. So tokenizator, it means any kind of fintech technology, and this is exactly how bank as a service works. So we have third-party fintech technology like scoring, ranking agencies, like Internet of Things that apply to this asset, and there is third-party escrow as well to make sure that we can independently own the asset. And then we come up in this way with smart assets, and then depending on the asset, we can go to the security or to create a token or a coin. Security goes to the exchanges as a bond, coins go to the crypto exchanges, and tokens are private sale. So, to make really this works, we need in the same way as investment banks. So we need to create the whole ecosystem around us. And just to make sure that our partners, our main partners right now are banks, so they have confidence in us. So we started from industry standards. In terms of industry standards, we're using these guys like Symphony or Hyperledger in order to collaborate with them and together to establish something that everybody is using in the industry, in the bank industry. Then we just standing on the shoulders of giants, so IT partners, and we already partnered with Microsoft Azure. We got grant for them. We're about to join IBM Bluemix and IBM Global Entrepreneur Program. We will run the pilot with consensus on their triple accounting product. So this is how we really become the part of mainstream. We don't want to be niche, disruptive startup. We want to be the part of the new big energy and the big new power that is going at the market. And finally, we are working with liquidity services. So we are working right now with a dark pool liquidity company in New York that was acquired by Euronext for $170 million and working in a Forex market. They're making $20 billion of US dollars per day. So they just want to get access for their hedge funds to the capital market and crypto. So this is the point where we work with them. So these are our deal pipeline. So the first one, we're preparing PDL payment.
That's it. Yeah. Minutes are up.
Okay.
Okay, stay here you go. So now, do we have any questions for Igor and BankEx? Don't be shy. Someone's going to ask the first question of the inaugural challenge, and it has to be somebody in this room. Matthieu, I think you have a question. Yes. Can we get a microphone to Matthieu, please?
Stick. Yeah. No, stick.
Where's the stick mic?
Oh, we do.
We do. Here we go.
Impressive first presentation. Every time I'm asking a question, I will say the presentation is impressive as well. So there's no prioritization there. Some of the examples you gave are dark pools in New York and things like that, which is very exciting. What has been your experience on the interconnection between the liquidity pools closer here to the Russian market with access to some of the instruments that you describe and you tokenize?
Yeah, we have right now, thank you for your question. So we have a few clients right now. We are working on the securitization of payday loans for when using Kiwi as escrow. And we're about to make the pilot issue for 100 million rubles this autumn on the Moscow exchange. So this is when we make securities. And then we have the clients who want to build another skyscraper in Moscow city and raising for about $400 million for that. And they want to do this from China, and they want to use tokens for that. So so Russian markets, because of the situation that is now, that's very blocked and has limited access to the capital, so they in big need of these kind of things.
Okay. I believe we have a question over here in the back. Can I get the mic? Go.
Igor, glad to see you on stage. One question, who do you think is the main partner or client do you see in Russia? Is it a bank? Is it, you said, a company that wants to build a skyscraper? Who is your main client that you would like to get? Because I really trying to understand how they will benefit from your service at the end of the day.
Yeah, so the end client, the best client that we can get, it's basically the biggest banks and financial groups in Russia. So we want to become part of the ecosystem, yeah. And we want to connect fiat markets with crypto markets. And so we basically there was the last slide that we just not get there. So we are ready to help some illiquid asset owners to sell this to their banks, or we help them for the banks to buy something from there, or we can help banks to build on their own as a service. So, and this, we already have few banks that just ordered us to make a business, and we have the put option to sell this business to them as soon as we get some KPIs. So this is 3 ways how we work with.
I think we have time for one more question. Anyone in the room? No? Okay, a big round of applause for Igor from BankEx, our first startup of the day. There you go. Okay, so now it's going to be time to vote. Clicker, please. There we go. So everybody, get your tokens out and get ready to vote. Again, 1 is low, 10 is high. The question that we're asking the room, how much would you like to work with BankEx? In a perfect world where you could do what you wanted, how excited would you be to get to work with Igor and his team on Monday? Ready? Off you go. It is a bit of a game show, isn't it? Looking back to my technical team. Yep, we're good to go. Okay, next up, we have Cashoff. So, Daria from Cashoff.
Thank you. One.
3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, my name is Dara, and today I want to present you a service Cashoff. It's the white label service. It's the white label service which integrated inside your internet banking and give to banks and to their clients new analytical services. Now we have more than 20 banks in Russia, including the biggest Innovator, and even we have the biggest telecom in our customers in Russia. So we help these customers to solve one big problem. It's that their customers is not only their customers. People have a lot of financial sources and they are tired to go to different banks to understand what they need to do with their financials. They need new services, and we give this. We help the banks to know more about their clients, to attract and retain their customers, to cross-sell all their products, what they have. And it means we try to transform the classic online banking, the classic application, to a tool which will be used every day by their clients. And let me show you how it works. When people come into your mobile banking, inside your internet banking, and can collect all the information of all other financial accounts. Banks, e-wallets, shops, providers, etc. They can import all the things. They can import Zoom, transactions, and even from other banks, they can import to your bank the payment templates. It's the first step. The second step is to give them more information of transactions. Yes, it's not just the sum and descriptions. It's the merchant name, current merchant logo, categories. It's the location at the map and the detailed item of the receipt. And this is the large of data about clients, and they can manage it into your internet banking, into your service. They want it, they see it, they can manage it. And the second step, it's not only give the instrument for analytics to the clients, it's to think on the client. Yeah? We can use this information to give the client only what they want. Extra spam, no spam. Just the benefit calculation, just selling your bank's products and selling the products of other merchants. And then you will transform your online banking to the very useful tool for your clients. And it really works. It works in our banks. We became more active clients into internet bank. It's become more active, more interesting. We up the time of transaction in internet banks up to 15 minutes. And we do the cash on banks less than 20%. You need to do online transactions, and we help you to do it. And at all, you can get the extra revenue on your retail clients up to 100 rubles in a month. Just calculate, yeah? It's a big sum. And I know that many of you can do it by yourself, but we have a lot of revenue. And if you do it by yourself, you will do it slow, and even you wouldn't have the complete data. But with us, you can do it. We have a big team, yeah, and we have a growing team. We are the researching laboratory based on Skolkovo. In August, we will open our new office in London because it's the new market, it's a new interesting market. And if you want to up the loyalty of your clients, if you want to save your customers, if you want to get a new revenue on your customers, let's do it together. Yesterday, on the main scene, the very important person on the morning said that we need to know more about the transaction of the clients. We need to do a marketplace of the bank's products. It was saying yesterday, but today it can be in your bank with us. Let's do it, please.
Thank you very much, Daria. Okay, let's open the floor to any questions. Who's got some questions for Cashoff? We have two of them back here. Can we get, who has the mic? Yeah, one over here.
Your solution means the accumulating some sensitive information about person. How you protect it? I mean, cybersecurity perspective.
Yes, we have different ways to collect the data, and we can do it if you have the open API. We do it by your open API. If you don't have, we have the technology to collect the data from your internet bank. We need just the client decision that they want it. And we use only unpersonal data. For us, it's just numbers. It's just numbers in our cloud, yeah, and it become the analytics only in your internet banking. So it's compliant service, yes, and we do every secure in our regulation. In our regulation us to do it secure. But I'm hoping very much that with the Bank of Russia, we will to do the new some regulations to do it more secure, to do this technology more secure and to do it better. And I hope the Bank of Russia will help us in it.
Okay. Was there another question from the room? No? Okay. Thank you very much, Daria. Thank you very much, Cashoff.
Thank you.
Okay, so now time to vote. Back to your digi-voting. So once again, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. How interested are you in getting people more engaged with your e-banking solution? How would you like to know more about the transaction of your customers? Ready to vote? Off we go. Okay, perfect. Next up now, let me welcome Emotions Tech, Ilya. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's talk about something important. Let's talk about two most important components of a successful business: loyal customers and good reputation. We are Emotions Tech, a brand new company in the field of emotion analysis. We develop artificial emotional intelligence that reads and feels text to predict our emotions. As business professionals, we all know that emotions drive loyalty, and loyalty drives profit. According to many studies like this one, loyal customers will purchase more from you, will recommend you, will trust you, will more likely forgive you after a mistake. But in the digital world, your company is absolutely blind to emotions and feelings of your customers. It is huge reputational risks for you and lack of brand loyalty from your online customers. If you don't respect your customers' feelings, how can you expect much loyalty from them? We have a solution, artificial emotional intelligence, that can provide you with actionable insights about emotions and feelings of your online customers. It can improve all of the digital communication channels that you can see here on this slide. Let's take a closer look at one of these channels. Let's talk about brand safety, your reputation in online advertising. Do you think McDonald's is happy to be placed millions of times per day on pages like this one and actually pay for that? This is a very sad page, and according to our emotion analysis that you can see on the right, it is huge reputational risk. Unfortunately for financial industry, this is not just about McDonald's. If an advertisement of a reputable financial institute is in the context of money laundering, do you think it will help you to build trust, loyalty, and good reputation? No. Our deep neural network predicts high anger. And this anger will spread to your companies if you place your ad alongside such a content. This is absolutely different story. This is a page that shows high love. And your ads will work very well here because of the perfect emotional match of the context. And as a result of that, you will get new loyal customers and great reputation. Let me show you how it works. You can connect your online advertising campaign to our artificial emotional intelligence and specify emotions you want to target. So our AI will be able to tell you whether it's a good idea to place your ad on a page or not. In emotion analysis, we outperform all of our competitors, including IBM Watson. And it's not just a bold claim. We have a solid technical proof for every word written on this slide. Our AI has already analyzed 500 million real user emotional reactions, and it is constantly growing. We have a great team with 35+ years of professional experience in different fields like machine learning, natural language processing, software development, marketing, and business development. And we are official members of NVIDIA Inception program. It is a program for exceptional AI startups. We have a great traction. I just want to mention one thing, that using our artificial emotional intelligence, We have already analyzed more than 1 billion web pages and assigned emotional labels to them. It shows that our technology fully works and has a proven accuracy. Our business model is straightforward. We have everything in place to start helping you create great reputation now. So let me repeat it one more time. Emotions drive loyalty, and loyalty drives profit. If you care about your online reputation and want to create new loyal customers, please get in touch with me. My name is Ilya Zaitsev. I'm the CEO of Emotions Tech, and we will be very glad to start a pilot project with you. Thanks.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, opening up to the questions to the floor. Microphone back over here, please.
Thank you, very interesting. Can you tell me with who do you need to integrate? With the websites, or you need to integrate with the companies that pay for the advertisement? Because I don't know, I couldn't understand how it works. So we pay for advertisement on a special website, and we buy that from them. So you need to integrate with all of the websites?
We want to, thank you very much for your question. We want to work with brands directly. And online advertising is a huge and growing industry, and that has already become increasingly automated. So what we aim to do is to connect our artificial emotional intelligence with real-time bidding platforms to help your advertisement robots and bots make right decisions, whether it's a good idea to purchase that particular pixels on a particular web page or not.
Another question, perhaps? Over here from Matthieu.
Classically, in the press, there's a principle of distinction between the editorial side and the advertising side. And here, as an advertiser, I'm sort of going over that restriction because I'm deciding where I advertise. So have you come up with that almost philosophical problem of the Reuters, to use the example of the world, saying that's against our philosophy?
Well, thank you very much for your question. In terms of philosophical idea, we think that when companies will start targeting positive content, publishers, to cope with this growing demand, will start to produce more positive content. And as a result of that, we as consumers will consume more positive content. So it will help us build positive expectations about the future. So we will start spending more. I think this kind of positive feedback loop looks very interesting, and we will all benefit from it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right. So,
Thanks.
Okay, so let's move on to the voting. So this time, the question on a scale of from 1 to 10, how much would you like to work with Ilya and the team at Emotions Tech? How much do you care about how your customers not only think about your brand, but feel about your brand? Ready? And we're good. Click. Click. Next up, I'd like to welcome to the stage Anton to represent the team from Evotor. Anton, here you go.
1, 2, 3.
Ready, and go.
Okay, hi, I'm Anton, and I'll tell you a story how Evotor helps bank to acquire and understand small merchants. Actually, small merchants is kind of terra incognita for banks. Why? Because actually majority of them don't accept credit cards. But even if they accept, only quarter of their customers pay with credit cards. and bank on the total paid sum with such amounts. So actually it's quite impossible for bank to understand what actually small merchants are selling, beer or candies. But we can help with it. We have a network of POS terminals across Russia that see all transaction data, cash and credit cards. And we do know what exactly small merchants are selling. Our customers buy from because it's comply with new regulations. It's an affordable price, less than $500. It's really easy to use. And what is unique for us? We have integrated marketplace of management applications that help merchants owners to automate their business. We call it Evotor. As for now, Evotor have more than 65 different kind of applications like employee management, inventory management, HoReCa management, loyalty management. And what is cool for our banking partners, we collect the data. So let me say it again, because small merchants owner can easily install from Evotor all such kind of application like inventory, loyalty, HoReCa, employee management. We can give you for our banking partners deep and coherent understanding what actually small merchants are doing. This is a set of data that actually impossible to get from any other single place. Because of that, we already have 10 live partnerships with major Russian banks. We have distribution across all Russia. Our POS terminals can be bought from biggest retail stores and from biggest e-commerce site of Russia. By doing so, we already just in 1 year sold 120,000 terminals and plan by the end of next year to have 500,000 terminals. And we will collect data from that, both transactional and data from installed management applications. Of course, we have competitors, but they are either big, hard, way more expensive compared to us, or just simple incomplete, and small merchants have to be equipped with the computers on their shops. Compare with our solution, just small, light, and ready to use just from the beginning. We do it with our great team, led by Andrei Romanenko, who previously founded Kiwi, and our great shareholders, Sberbank, who help us with strategy vision, and Atoll, who help us with building manufacture and distribution network. So, let me summarize what we can offer for our banking partners. First of all, we can increase your acquiring network and turnover because we personally know every single small merchant owner and can reach them with your personal offering. Because all of data that we take, transactional, cash, and credit cards, we start to understand what actually they are selling. And data from management applications, we can give you really deep and granular understanding of your small merchants' customers. This will allow you to build better finance products that will help you to grow your business. So, if you want to acquire small merchants, you to understand them on really deep level, Evotor is the right partner for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anton. Okay, who's got some questions for Anton and Evotor? Someone?
Here's a question.
Anyone? Right here in the front. Can we just get a microphone?
So basically what you sell is the terminal or the analytical data?
We have a few. We do terminals, is our main business. And what we offer for banks is analytic and actually distribution network for acquiring for banks.
So I mean, buying this terminal, I'll automatically get all the data from the merchants, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It depends. If you're selling as a sellers of Chernov, as a bank sellers, you're able to access the data on some specific terms.
Another question from the room. Yes, we have one here in the front.
What do you think about OFD? Do you know that now we should provide all the data, and we have one operator,
Okay.
10th operator, OFD? What do you think? How do you will work with them?
This is a really great question. So what I will say, first of all, that aside of OFD, we have really broader set of data. It's just not transactional, but also it's also all data from management applications. The other part of the issue that aside of OFD, we have legal rights to sell the data for you. OFD is not such clear from legal point of view.
Okay. All right, Anton, thank you very much. A big hand for Anton, everybody. So, time to vote. Once again, to your DigiVotes. From a 1 on the lowest to a 10 on the highest, how much do you want to know about these small merchants? How much more do you want to learn? How interested would you be to have a call with Evotor next week? Ready? Off we go. Yep, okay, we're good to go. Next up, Locus-soft Technologies. I'd like to welcome Magomed to the stage. Here you go.
Okay, thank you. So, 3, 2, 1, wait, go. Hello everybody, my name is Magomed Alikhanov. I'm very delighted to meet you here and present you our company Locus-soft Technologies. 2 years ago, we have established a company to develop the unique cyber intelligence platform. Our business is protecting banks' reputation by predicting threats before they happen, by monitoring criminal activities in dark web. Every single day, 30 million professional hackers and cyber thieves attacking your business around the world. Every single day, these bad guys using dark web to selling sensitive information about your business, selling information about vulnerabilities of your business. What is the shadow internet? What is the dark web? The dark web is part of internet that not possible indexed, indexed by Google, Yahoo, and other searching engines. Dark web also not possible identifies and could not be found by standard cyber intelligence solutions. Dark web is key meeting and communication place for cyber thieves and criminals who are attacking your business and preparing attacks. If you think I'm not serious, look scans that we have made only last quarter in Russia. 7,000 times we have defined carding, more than 3,000 times we have defined money laundering, and more than 200 times we detected insider services. Deep Hound knows the dark web. We collect information every day, detecting target banks, companies related to money laundering. We identifying hidden links between criminals, profiles, and we identifying geographical location of criminals. Our solution is very simple. We automatically monitor dark web, discovering critical information, and we're generating reports every day automatically for banks. The 3 main things for delivering our value for banks is predicting of developing threat in dark web. We are preventing cyber threats and attacks. And the most important thing is we're protecting company reputation. Market potential for our business is very huge. It's more than $5 billion. This also reflected how big is the problem. And you see this problem is growing every month and every year. Business model we're providing for business is very simple for banks. We're offering two simple options: cloud-based solutions, so-called SaaS, and standalone solution. We are selling a solution by direct sales, partner sales, or we also partnership with SaaS and other companies. We are only one company in Russia that able to monitor dark web. Yes, we have competitors in the world. They are American SaaS company that focusing on working by detecting internal threats. But we are working with external threats. Is very, very important. We have very complementary team, very solid background in IT, financial business, consulting, and sales. I'm here, colleagues, because we will find customer who are interested to join us fight the army of 50 million hackers and cyber thieves. If you want to protect your business, please contact me. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Magomed. Stay up here for a second. So, any questions for Magomed? Down here in the front.
My question is, you have prepared some picture of potential threats. How you can prove that it's true, it's reality, not some artificial picture prepared by your algorithm?
We can show this online right now. It's not in this case, in this room, it's outside, it's no problem, because our system is working automatically. And this all information reflected in slide, it's actual information we detected last quarter only in Russian, related on top 20 Russian banks.
Okay, I believe we had one more question down here in the front. Yes.
Can we get a very slight understanding of the technology itself? So how it's working? How do you index not indexed web?
It's all top secret, but anyway, we can index in this because we're using special technologies to index not indexed sites in dark web. First of all, our platform working is in a visible way. Technology is emulating human behaviors, and we are working as cyber thieves. We are modeling the same model working every day. And plus, we automatically parsing a lot of darknet resources every day, collecting information. Right now, we have more than 15 million structured data related only Russia about cyber threats only in Russia. If you technically will more ask in detail, I can ask my partner, head of technical department, tell you in more details if you're interested.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. We'll talk offline.
Okay. Yeah. I will see that Alexey Avramenko is my partner. He's a guy has been working last 20 years as leading last mile cybersecurity for government in Russia in Gamma Group. And he can answer every technical questions if you're interested.
Sounds like you guys need to have a little talk after this. Okay, thanks you for your time, Magomed. Everyone, a big hand for Magomed.
Okay. Thank you.
So, time to vote to your digi-voting. Somebody once said, as a bank, if you're not concerned about cybersecurity, then you just aren't paying attention. So how much attention are you paying to this on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is the lowest and 10 is the highest? Please vote. Okay. Next up, Moneycare. Kirill. Here you go.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3. So, ladies and gentlemen.
1, 2, 3, go.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kirill Novikov, and I'm here to present to you Moneycare. Moneycare is a POS lending platform. Call us a credit broker, but the most important thing, what we do, we deliver your POS loans to most remote area all over our beautiful country in small merchant stores. Small merchants market is a very fruitful one, and actually many banks want to work there, but there are some complexities to acquire the merchant and to work with them. Just think that working with thousands of shop owners, you need to change only one letter in your banking contract. That's what we call a banking nightmare. 11 banks and 3 insurance companies trusted us and use us as a gateway to the small market. And they value also our full independence. We are not only able to take you to thousands of small locations all over the territory of our country and many merchants. Think about 1 billion. That's going to be our turnover in POS loans in December this year. Taking a look on a picture showing loans issued in July, that looks like absolutely realistic target. And we're not doing just, volumes for volumes. We're thinking about the profitability we bring to the bank. So tell us your dream KPIs, and we're gonna do it for you. You're thinking about average rate on a portfolio we generate, no problem with that. You're thinking about cross-selling products. What do you have in mind? Insurances, SMS services. Even though you are thinking about car loans or maybe in the future mortgages, just whatever you have in mind and whatever is feasible, we can do that for you. You don't really have to go around many cities and villages in Russia, even though they are very beautiful. But it takes a lot of time to set up the sales target with the numerous shop owners. Set them with us. Just one window, and we're gonna hit them for you. What is your risk appetite? You want to test new market? No problem with that. You want to go conservatively? No problem again. We know all the in-store fraud schemes, and we prevent them before anybody from your security department even see them. So everything in Moneycare works completely automatically. We in Moneycare believe in human factor, so there is no human factor in Moneycare. How we earn money, maybe you ask us. So that's straightforward scheme, very transparent and very easy to understand. Whenever the loan we issue with your help, with your customer, is signed, you pay us a small commission. Think about Moneycare like about an ecosystem where consumer, vendor, merchant, and bank meet each other. Consumer dreams to find a good financing for his dream product. Merchant always looking to increase the retail sales, that's his job. While vendors are placing a new product on the market and thinks what kind of a solution or marketing tool he can use to get this product successful on the market. Well, and you bankers are always in the search of high profile and high quality borrowers. So we connect all of you in one environment. And the merchants, we've been talking about them, they just simply love us. They love us because we're fast. Right now, from shake hands to the first loan issued in the store, it takes us only 2 weeks. That's not all. By September this year, it will take us only 3 days. That will allow us to jump from 200 stores, which we actually connect every month, to 500 stores monthly basis. So we are going to provide you significant growth in coming months. Maybe ask me how we actually built such an efficient distribution network for POS loans and other financial products. Well, the answer is simple. We're retailers. We've been looking on this market from the retailer point of view, from the retail angle of view. My team and I altogether has more than 100 years of retail expertise. We're successful businessmen, and we built a chain of stores dedicated for small cities and villages 14 years ago. So we know the market, we know the cities, we know the merchants, what they're thinking about, how they live. So that's why we're able to reach them and talk to them in the same language. Moneycare itself is a profitable company, and we're able to finance our R&D to fight and to meet the market challenges, but not only to meet them, but also to create them for our competitors. Well, Moneycare offers you a journey together. If you are looking to enter the POS market in Russia, or you want to expand to highly profitable businesses in small, medium cities and villages in Russia, we got merchants for you ready to go. So join us, the fastest growing POS lending platform in Russia. Thank you. Well, welcome your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kirill.
Thank you.
So, who's got a question for Kirill and Moneycare? Back here, please.
Thank you for your presentation.
Sure.
We in MTS really have a lot of loans. You didn't specify how your product works. So, for example, if I'm a merchant, what needs to be filled in? Some forms. What do you need to send? Or everything goes online?
Well, I didn't specify. Thank you for your question, because I was hoping for this one, exactly for this one. This is one of our benefits. We have online registration tool. So the merchant has to fill up only one extensive, but okay, this is regulations and compliance, but still, only one questionnaire. So we prepare all documents in accordance with the bank requirements, all 11 banks, for instance, automatically in our system. So then we print it, he signs, scan, we go. And banks are taking these documents from our portal via the web link or something like that. Very soon, we're going to be making that with a digital signature.
Then another question adding to that. What about fraud? Because people fraud is something that all of the merchants have, and especially in an SME.
Well, another very good question. MTS Bank, you are very welcome to join us, really. We don't send you fraud. We cut fraud. So we have a pre-scoring system based on credit history of people, which we're of course querying from an external provider, plus machine learning, because we're taking data back to the system and trying to teach the system what kind of schemes are used and so on. But anyway, you will not get a fraud from us. Let's say the extreme fraud is cut automatically. We don't send that flows to the banks. That's maybe the answer, yeah, if I answered the question. So we pre-score everyone before sending to the banks. Okay. Also, we know the schemes, because very important, we know that, as I mentioned, we're retailers. What people are doing on the floor, they're making kind of agreements between the director of the store, the salesperson who is inputting questionnaires, so we know all this. We have unusual behavior monitoring system. We catched just 1 year ago a couple of guys been trying to make a fraud in DNS stores in Chelyabinsk. And I can tell you that police arrived before security officer of the bank even knew about that it's going to happen. Okay. So we take care in Moneycare.
Down here in the front.
One more question. According to your presentation, it looks like you have a big database which can make benchmarking for different businesses in different territories. Have you any attempt to link your database to a business navigator platform prepared by a federal corporation to support SMEs?
No, we didn't think about that, but we're ready to. No problem with that. What we're doing right now, our main priority in current days, we would like to link in all this scheme also the vendor side, the producer, because it's very important. Businesses moving to the direction like in the car loans industry. Samsung wants to help financing, products. So we, as a retailer, has all the connections, and we're going to use this benefit. But your idea is very good. Thank you for that, and I think we should talk about that here. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Big round of applause for Kirill and the
Thank you.
Moneycare.
Thank you very much. Join us.
Okay, so time to vote. Again, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest. How much Eager, we like that. So how interested are you guys in sourcing these high quality leads, these point of sales loans from all over 5 different time zones, lots of little shops and lots of little towns and cities? Ready? Okay, now Svetlana.
Thank you.
Okay, here you go. So this is Svetlana from Oz Forensics.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Svetlana and I present Oz Forensics. Oz Forensics helps financial institutions to reduce digital costs and risk by automating KYC process with photo, video, and biometric analysis. We know that the history of altering photo is rather long. And nowadays, we just simply find out that it's easier to make any changes in photo with the help of Photoshop, even in 30 seconds. We have already European use case of our customers, and we are working with them on online identification. It's quite enough to provide this kind of documents and photos to identify the person and also to identify the living address. Let's have a look. Rather normal ID. Now, let's have photo and expiry date were changed. Wow, scan of a document, bill, and energy. That's okay. No, account number and address were changed. Very nice lady Lucy. She's a fraudster. And every such case in Europe costs about $2,000. We also do the video identification. This is a use case from the bank with which we work on. It's definitely easy to catch up the photo from the video stream, then to compare photo with the photo from a document, and then with database of the bank. We have already checked 5 million documents. And with our high-rank accuracy, we prevent fraud cases to our customers on $500,000. Our paid customers have trusted us. We are now presenting in Europe, and we stuck in Mexico as well. We help our customers to reduce digital fraud risk on 10%, and then on 50% time and budget saving in QSE identification. We provide our product as cloud service, license monthly, and as a standalone server version, license annually. And our customers prefer our product because we have workflow, automation engine, and multifunctional platform. We can recognize the IDs and other documents. We can identify the fake images, and we also can do biometry. Our team is a good synergy between research and development scientists and business development people from trusted brands. And we're here, we hope that we could work also together with the banks on online identification, and we can help you to reduce digital cost risks and to do the process very effectively. Thank you.
Thank you, Svetlana. So, who's got a question down here at the front? Roman from Ross Swift. Can you get a microphone down here, please?
Thank you very much for the interesting presentation. I have a question. Out of 5 million documents you processed, how many false alarms did you get?
A very good question. Depends on the sector and the business. There are different number of such kind of cases, fraud prevention cases. And I should say that it's also a different number of the price. Just nowadays, we just stop 250,000 fraud cases.
Okay, and how are they handled? How do you deal with them? And how do you suggest your customers to deal with them?
It's rather easier. It depends on the process that our customers have. For example, they can we just make a signal that something is wrong when the person just sent the documents by emails. And it's possible just to make an alert to Department of Security or somebody else, or just like to a manager. If the manager is working through the video stream, the manager from bank working through the video stream with the customer, we just analyze the pictures that sent before, analyze photos, analyze faces, and then make a signal to this kind of manager, green or red. Green, everything is okay. Red, stop. We have fraud here.
Okay. Any more questions?
As you know, in very soon future, it must appear a state-oriented remote identification system in Russia. You have told about possibility to use your solution in identification system. How can you cooperate with United Identification System provided by state?
It's very interesting questions. Thank you. Am I right that you are speaking about the database, which provides the special details of the persons and so on? If you just explain me more, it will be better.
The state system based on powered by Ministry of Communication and Rostelecom
in Russia.
Based system for identification. Of course, it's possible to use several additional factors for identification. So, of course, it's impossible to use your technology inside this state system. But what's about additional factors?
Additional factors from our solution, you mean? Yeah, just the additional factor that we can recognize the documents. It's a very important thing when the person provided. We can just make the ORCR recognition too.
Okay. Everyone, a big hand for Svetlana and the team from Mouse Forensics.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So now, time to vote. Thank you. So now the time to vote. To your clickers, once again, on a scale of 1 to 10, does your bank have large numbers of employees that are trying to validate scans of identity documents? Because remember, those people can make mistakes. Those mistakes can cost you money. How interested would you be in a solution to back them up? Ready, steady, vote. Okie dokes. All right. Up next now, I would like to introduce Eugene from Scorista. There you go.
I'm ready.
Testing. Can we get Eugene's mic up, please? He is loud, but he's not that loud.
Yeah.
I got him busy.
I can yell.
Yeah, okay.
It's okay now? I can hear. It's okay.
Okay.
So
ready?
hi there.
Go.
My name is Eugene, and I'm from Scorista. So what is Scorista? Well, it's pretty simple. Scorista is a smart risk management assistant for non-bank lenders. It may sound complicated, but I will help you. So our clients are non-bank lenders that issue microcredits for up to $2,000 for up to 12 months, online and offline. And the number of those type of lenders tripled in the past 3 years. And last year, non-bank lenders issued $180 billion worldwide, and they spent $12 billion on credit assessment. And that assessment market is growing by 30% every year. And there are several reasons for that. In addition to poor borrower quality, the microfinance market is getting more and more competitive. Besides, non-bank lenders are facing new market regulations and cash gap. So the only option for them to survive is to constantly improve their credit assessment quality. And there are 3 solutions for that. The first one is traditional scoring from credit bureaus. The problem is it costs a huge amount of money and it's not suitable for non-bank lenders. The second solution is indoor development, but the price is high and it's very time consuming. And the third solution is big data scoring, but it's still in rudimental state and it can be used like standalone solution. And all of these solutions are sharing the one problem. Clients must pay anyway without any guarantee for the results. So that's why we created Scorista, the system that provides full circle of risk management services. And I'm not talking about just scoring or modeling, because there are plenty of companies that are doing that. But Scorista is the only company that provides instant credit decisions and provides constant monitoring and adjustment for the credit portfolio. And Scorista is the only company in the world that provides clients with money-back guarantee for the results. So Scorista is online credit assessment service that combines several solutions for scoring, underwriting, verification, basic anti-fraud, and instant credit decisions, approve or deny the credit, with detailed explanation in each case in less than 1 minute. And that's how the web interface looks. You can see credit report, you can see stop factors, you can see credit score, and you can see credit decision to make everything fast and clear. And we can also integrate Scorista into clients' CRM through API. It's very important that Scorista can use any kind of data for borrower assessment, from classic data sources like credit reports to alternative data sources like mobile payments or e-commerce data. And Scorista can analyze photos and videos for verification. And our technology is proved. That's why we have more than 100 clients right now. And Scorista has 93% of forecast accuracy. That's how we can help our clients to increase their revenue by 40% in just 3 to 6 months. And our business model is also proved. We are profitable, and we reached break-even point last year. We use transactional business model, and we use direct sales. And right now, we are already working on 5 markets, from Russia to Kazakhstan, Latvia, Spain, and the most important, China. And we have active paying clients on each market. So there are 7 core members that are professional, skillful, and passionate about the product. And there are total 18 people working in Scorista. And we are working really hard to make Scorista the microfinance assessment standard, just like FICO became for banks. We are launching on new markets. We are creating new products, and we improving the existing ones. And right now, we are looking for a partner to conquer the world together. A partner that have wide network of points of presence around the world, because we are looking for launch assistance on new markets in exchange for company shares. And that's the opportunity to become a part of extremely perspective business that is truly unique. Thank you.
Thank you, Eugene. So, who's got some questions for Eugene and the team at Scorista?
I hope I made everything clear.
Yeah, it looks like you did.
Yes.
Nikolai.
What's the difference of your technology from Dable data?
We not just about social nets, we're about any data source. And we can work on every market. We just get used to the local data sources.
Okay. We have one more question here from Matthieu. Can we
Thank
get
you.
a mic here?
You say that you guarantee the results. That means if something wrong happens, you take the financial hit. Do I understand that correctly? And if so, how does that work? Is that based on your previous cash transactions, or do you have a money source, a bank in the background ensuring you?
Yeah. Before signing the contract, we discuss the target KPI. And if the client without help can't reach those KPIs, we don't take money for our services. But still, it's the money-back guarantee that no one can give on the market, on the worldwide market.
All right. Thank you very much, Eugene. Good presentation. Thank you. Okay, to your clickers, please. So once again, from a scale of 1 being the lowest to 10 being the highest, how interested are you in these alternative scoring mechanisms, in figuring out ways to score people that you cannot risk score today? Let's get voting. By the time this is over, you're all going to hear that in your minds, that song. Yep, and we're good. Okay, up next now, I'd like to present Natalia from TalkBank. Warm round of applause, please. Natalia.
Hi there. Do you hear me?
3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, I'm Natalia, and I'm from TalkBank. Do you know that young people use messengers and social media apps much more often than general apps? Efficient way to engage and serve young customers directly in Messenger. We all know that millennials are getting into force. They're becoming more influential today, and it's time to see them as a client. But here's the problem. They simply don't understand traditional banking. There are complex terms, hidden fees, charges. That's all too complicated, too long to wait for millennials. And so it turns them away from traditional banking. So imagine a bank where all you need to start is just to say hello. Imagine a bank where you could pay your bill with text. Imagine a bank where you could send money with voice. Isn't that cool? This is how it works with TalkBank. For a client, we give all-in-one in Messenger. We give account operation from opening to closing, internet banking in Messenger. You can ask, for example, how much money I have, and Robot will answer you instantly. Moreover, Robot learns your habits and gives you recommendations further. So it's not just internet banking, it's Robot advising and concierge service in one. But what's more interesting here in this room, what we give for a bank partner. We're not just a regular customer support chatbot, no. We give you a ready ecosystem for millennials that includes the internet banking, the ready architecture that gives you internet banking in Messenger. We give you integration with merchants to create loyalty programs, and we give you a community of independent developers to scale the services faster. With TalkBank, this is a huge opportunity for a bank to cut costs. According to McKinsey research, only in US, the chatbots will allow banking save up to $23 billion by just cutting the call centers. And that's just the top of the iceberg. Also, TalkBank is evolution of their banking interfaces. This technology is easily integrated into Siri, virtual assistants, and IoT. But let's see how the TalkBank changes the human interaction today. Let's compare us to the leading online bank in Russia right now, Tinkoff. User acquisition. In TalkBank, you don't need anything. You just do one click and no app install. You don't need to upgrade anything. You always have an actual version. Always interface is chattable. It's natural language processing. And Robot is always at your assistant. He has no breaks, no holidays, no vacations, always in a good mood, and does no mistakes. So we are faster and cheaper if working with TalkBank. But you may ask how much faster and cheaper? We proved it with the pilot with Transcapital Bank. We're 6 times more efficient in user acquisition and 10 times more efficient in customer support. Our client used the service 57 times per month, and 95% of their transactions are cashless. We grow 40% month to month just by word of mouth. And this couldn't happen without a team, of course. We have a strong team in fintech. We're 7 years there. We already built a successful PFM service in Russia, one of the leading, with 500,000 client base. We know what the customers are looking for when banking. We know what they're dreaming about, and we do our best to implement it in TalkBank. We have 2 models to work with banks. We're open to discuss a cooperation. It's either revenue share or white label. If you want to engage your millennials with us, if you want to go to a new market, come talk to us and let's do it together. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. So, who's got some questions for Natalia and the team at TalkBank? Roman, down here at the front.
Thank you for your presentation. I have a question regarding hidden fees. How does the chatbot help to unhide fees hidden in the banking contract?
Yeah. Okay. When let's say you are in nowadays bank and you have overcharged, for example, you always have to go to a call center or the bank to ask, what I was charged for, and wait, and then they always ask your name, and then you hold on line and then see why you were charged. So here is simple. You ask what was the charge, and the robot answers you immediately what was it for.
Okay. So
they're not hidden.
Fees.
They're not hidden.
Okay.
They are clearly to you instantly. So we try to make it transparent as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Who else has got a question? Nobody on this side of the room asks a question except for Matthieu. Matthieu, you have a question?
There is a competition.
Yes.
There's a competition.
Guys,
I have the microphone first. Really quick one. You mentioned natural language.
Mm-hmm.
How fast can you onboard? Imagine you're at Cybus and you have a bank coming from Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
How fast can you onboard where your users talk another human language?
4 to 6 months.
That's a very quick answer, that's for sure. Okay. Nikolai, you had a question, I think.
As I remember, your solution has started on Telegram platform.
Yes.
Now, what's your linkage with different chat platform? Is it Telegram only, or it's platform independent? What
No,
solution?
we started with Telegram. Yes, it was the first open API, and it was convenient for us to use. But we looking into Facebook, we're looking into Viber, because we are actively talking to Europe banks. And for example, I've spent some months in Poland with PwC, and we were developing the Facebook. So now we have a demo in Facebook. We are translated into languages as well. So we are ready for also getting the service for Facebook and for Viber and for WhatsApp when it's open.
Okay. All right. So, big round of applause for Natalie.
Thank you.
Okay, by now you should know what I'm going to say, right? It's time to vote. Everybody get out your clickers on a scale of 1 to 10. How interested are you guys in working with millennials? I mean, who's not interested in working with millennials, right? Okay, ready? And vote. Yep, and we're good. Okay, last but by no means least, it is my very great pleasure to introduce Elena from VentureClub. Here you go.
Hi. Yeah. Hi, my name is Elena Privalova, and I am CEO of VentureClub, the largest crowd investing platform in Russia. And I should say sorry because I am not a public and talkative person, and it's my first English language speech, and sorry for my funny English. Now I will show you how banks and financial institutes can collaborate with our platform, and how you can offer to your clients new financial institute, new financial product, and new financial opportunities, the alternative investment market. Show the numbers. It's a Goldman Sachs report from last year. In 2016 was invested from private investors and venture capitalists into startups and technological companies, $57 billion, and this market grows from year to year at 70–80%. Our founder, Alexander Borodich, is most active business angel in Russia, and he and his partners 3 years ago create platform for co-investments, sharing deals, sharing risks, expertise, and risk diversification for private investors. Now we are largest community in Russia for private investors and venture capitalists, and we know what it is investors' problem. It's access to quality deal flow in startups. Startups, it's a really new and a really difficult market for understanding from investors. Investors need high-level expertise in business models, in startups' execution, projections. It is different kind of investments. And now our platform gives solutions. And now our platform gives solution as investment opportunities verified by professional venture guys, and private investors can co-invest with them in verified deal flow. And in one hand we have investors, in another hand we have startups, and we have good traction both of them. And for investors we are as one window in alternative market, and for startups we are as one window to become financial from different kind of investors. We are working as a supermarket or maybe as one-stop shop market for investors and startup. With Bank we can provide new opportunities. For Bank we can provide new opportunities and new offer for new product that you don't have now in your portfolio of your products. And we can provide qualified, verified, trustable deals and venture expertise as white label solutions into banks. And now we collaborate with few banks, and we'll stop with it. We become a really interesting deal flow from global partners, accelerators, incubators, competitions, and we invest in some projects from this area. And we know secret sources how become best opportunities from high-risk field. We know trends, diversification, and how manage growth of projects. We have an entrance 8,000 startups, but we become 34 deals. But what is kind of these deals? It's an example of our project from our portfolio. Average growth on our portfolio is 300% year per year. In global landscape, we are global focused, professional oriented platform for venture capitalists. We have now 1,300 investors. It's corporate, it's private funds, it's global venture funds, it's investment banks. We charge commission from startups and membership fee from platforms, from investors. And now we have opened more than 100 invest opportunities, verified and with investors inside. And if you want to collaborate with us and co-invest with us and offer to your clients or your partners new investment products, you can speak with us. I think it's all. Yeah, and your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Elena. So, who's got a question for Elena and VentureClub?
Please, no question.
No, please a question. Somebody has to ask a question. Otherwise, I'm just going to call on you, Matthieu. It's like you're my go-to guy when I can't get a question from the floor. Anybody want to save Matthieu the effort? No? Can we get a microphone to Matthieu, please?
Why?
Because he's a curious guy, Matthieu.
I'm very curious. You showed 4 examples of the companies that have used venture clubs to grow their equity or the financing in them. Statistically, what kinds of companies, what sectors use you?
Now in our 100 startups, we have 15 or 17 startups in fintech sectors. It's services, but it's B2B infrastructure for some kind of markets, for ticketing markets. It's marketplace as we are for B2B connections and for services and for collaboration. It's Kevin, thank you for your word. Collaboration, it's collaborative solutions for current businesses. I think it's the best project in which we invest. And it's so, yeah. Yeah?
All right. Any other questions?
Okay.
No? All right. Thank you very much, Elena.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the last time today, I'm going to ask you to go to your DigiVoting tokens and give us a vote from a 1 to a 10. Do you have customers that are trying to get in on deals like this, who'd like to do this kind of business and you're having a hard time connecting them? Maybe you should be talking to VentureClub. How interested are you at working with them? Your votes, please. Okay, that's it. So those were our 10 startups. I'd like to ask the entire room to please help me with a big round of applause for them. This isn't easy for them. We've really been writing them very hard all week, and I think they've done a fantastic job. Whoops. Okay, without further ado, I'd like to hand back to my boss, Kevin, who's going to take it from here.
Thank you, Songi. So, I'm going to say a few things now before moving on to the next piece. There's some of my colleagues are going to join me on a panel, so while I'm talking, it might be a good idea, if you haven't got one already, to grab a microphone, because you're going to be mic'd up. So if you're going to be on the panel and you know who you are, make your way over there seamlessly and get your microphone. Have you got one, Alex? No. So, on the thank yous to the startups, thank you. That was amazing. We've been on a real journey together, and I think there's 2 things I'm going to take from today. One is collaboration. That's the word that I sort of used, I heard a few people use, but the other one is let me show you how that works. This is kind of an in-joke in between all of the startups. And what we've done with the startups as part of the coaching, whenever they actually explain anything, we always just say, let me show you how that works. We're going to get that put on a t-shirt for everybody, I think. But truly, this has been more than we could have expected, so thank you very much. As another small thank you to Tongi, this was his first time on stage as part of Innotribe. Did a great job, so congratulations. So thank you very much for that one. Yeah, that smile's back, that's good. And yeah, so I said at the beginning that this was all about problems. Starting with a problem, bringing up a solution that people in the audience can grab hold of and do something with. And I think everybody that you heard today has got something to offer. So what we're going to do now, we're actually going to get some representatives from the task force that helped put this showcase on to come up on stage to talk about, can I have my next slide, if anybody's listening up the back, because this has stopped working. Thank you. Fintech in Russia, but not just fintech in Russia. We're actually going to talk about fintech and collaboration between startups and the financial industry. And as we've heard, there is a vibrant marketplace for this. Now, some of you, I see, are leaving for lunch. Don't go just yet, because at the end of this panel, we're actually going to reveal the results. And my colleagues at the back are actually going to be calculating those right now. And don't worry about lunch, we've got you covered there as well. We're actually going to be putting lunch on outside afterwards. So after the panel, you'll be able to go outside and grab these startups, talk to them whilst grabbing a sandwich and filling the hole in your stomach as well. So I'd like to ask to join me. No, still some sort of, do I need to fill in for another couple of minutes? Do a dance? Well, if you've got your microphone and your name's on here, if I can ask you to join me up here on stage while the rest are getting mic'd up. So, Maxim, Alex, Ekaterina, Sergey and Matthieu, if you could join me up on stage. I've got a few questions for you. So, yes?
We miss one microphone.
You miss one microphone. Tongi, can you take your... Tongi's gone.
Microphone full.
Yeah. Can we have a microphone? We're out of... Tongi, this way. Tongi, this way. So, could we just quickly give a microphone? So, Olga.
Just normal mic. Do you have just for 2 words? No.
Okay.
Уважаемые коллеги, я...
Esteemed colleagues, I have to attend another session, but before leaving this wonderful audience, and before you start the panel discussion, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to you, my esteemed colleagues. I will call you that. Very good presentations. What you've done is very valuable. If I were a businesswoman, I would have bought everything. As a regulator, I made a clear conclusion about what interests me. And in the nearest future, I will invite you to discuss some projects which we carry out as regulators. And you've done a wonderful job. Every success to you, and thank you.
So, who are we missing? So we have... Okay. Do you have a microphone, Nikolai? No.
We have an old school one.
Can we give you one of these? Okay, so... No, it's okay. I can stand up and walk. I'm gonna do this slightly. I've been sitting down all afternoon. I need to stretch my legs. So I think the first thing that I'd like you very briefly to do, and I will start with ladies first, is very brief. You thought I'm going to sit in the middle. I won't get to come first. I'm just going to ask you just very briefly, sort of introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay. So I'm Ekaterina and I work in Sberbank. I'm leading a technology innovation team. We do a lot of internal research, I would say, but we always source to startups and companies who bring new ideas to the banking and financial industry sector.
Okay, thank you. So next up, I'm going to sort of go out. So, Sasha?
I'm Alex Yakovlev. I'm working for National Settlement Depository, and I'm responsible for fintech, from distributed ledger technologies to coordination with startups and etc.
Okay. Sergey?
My name is Sergey Maximchuk. I'm from Alpha Laboratory, which is the innovation department of Alpha Bank, and I'm looking for some promising startups and technologies for Alpha Bank.
Okay. Nikolai?
Instead of Maxim Grigoriev, Nikolai Silin, advisor to director of Department of Financial Technology, Central Bank, and I am responsible with Central Bank on all problems how to support fintech startups.
And Matthieu? You can answer in Russian. I've got an earpiece.
Здравствуйте, меня зовут Matthieu.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm called Matthieu again.
We were planning to do this one in Russian, but we can obviously do it in English as well.
No, it's better in Russian.
No, go first.
Okay, so like I said, if you want to answer in Russian, we've got interpretation for the very few people who don't speak Russian in the room. Whatever you feel comfortable in. So my first question was going to be, what's your institution doing in this space? So what are you actually doing with the startups? How are you working with them? Is it you're investing, you've got labs and things like this? So I'm going to sort of pick up random. I'm going to start with you, Alex.
Okay, Russian, English, finally.
Whatever you want.
I think it will be more useful to use Russian because we are in international financial congress, but in St. Petersburg.
Хорошо. В рамках национального расчетного депозита.
Okay, within our national depository, we're constantly collaborating with various startup teams, and we even own some shares of those teams. We have a stake in those startups. And we're constantly striving to contribute a startup culture to Russia, take it from abroad, bring it here and adjust it to our realities, as well as adapt things done globally here in Russia.
Jump on to the next person, but I'm going to ask my favorite question, which is, why do you do this? I'm going to ask the same thing to all of you, so the rest of you got a little bit of a head start. Why is the NSD getting involved in this? Why isn't it just going alone?
We're doing that because we are a huge, bulky corporate structure. And for us, it's much more useful to pick certain services, products, take them from a dynamic market rather than develop on their own, on our own. It's cheaper, it's faster, and that's how we can get the level of service for our end customers that we could not produce, or it's too long to produce on our own.
I'm going to go. You volunteered. You looking at you, you're just going, oh my God. Sergey, we'll jump to you first.
Alpha Bank.
Alpha Bank started to work with startups back in 2014. That's when we had the first selection program organized by the bank for fintech startups. Since that, we've done a lot of things. We had all sorts of selection programs. We participated in a number of highlight signature startup events. We contributed to the establishment of startup culture in Russia, because now the participants of our events turn into successful businesses. And why do we do that? There are a number of reasons for that. My colleague said that already. We're looking for perspective technologies that we can apply in our business, that can simplify our procedures, and we can bring new products to our customers. We realize that we cannot embrace the whole variety of things going on in IT world, and maybe it's not necessary. Maybe we don't need to engage in virtual reality technologies on our own. We can pick technologies ready to use on the market and take advantage of them. And this collaboration is useful not just for us, but for startups as well, because we are, first, a major customer. Second, we provide access to a wide client database. And finally, startups are closely related to venture businesses. But after they do that, the investment attractiveness gets higher, and hence the capitalization. So we are supporting the market. So we will continue to do so. We think it's meaningful, and that's what we are going to do.
Переключусь на русский.
Sorry, I started in English, but I will continue in Russian if I may do so. As far as Sberbank's background is concerned, when we started dealing with startups, we were watching quietly first, And then we carefully started to engage. We used the rip-off and duplicate approach, which is another acronym for R&D. When we realized that it's not our ultimate goal, we decided that we could actually collaborate with them. More than that, we can have our own team that can develop innovative solutions inside, and we can rely businesses on that. We can invest in companies, and we don't need to force them into that. We can make it attractive money-wise for them. So we decided to diversify, and we decided not to represent ourselves as a bank only. For Sberbank, fintech is more than a fintech. It's a conglomerate of different techs, including fintech, rintech, and even medical tech. So it's a bunch of different things, and it's an important part of our evolution outside our actual core expertise area. That's how we as a bank transform ourselves into different domains. We acquire new competences, we acquire new clients and new areas of expertise. That's why this collaboration in the area of investment, in the area of development of new products and solutions, as well as establishment of our own solution, it's just the way we can transform ourselves to get to the new level. I think it's what each single bank that can envisage itself in 5-10 years from now on. Oh, it's a good sign. It's good luck. So, for us, it's a part of our daily life. It's not something unusual, something extraordinary. It should be a standard practice in the area, and that's what we are trying to set as a trend.
Disruption in action is all I'm going to say on that one. So thank you very much, Matthieu. So I'm not going to come to you next for that. So Nikolai, I think the central bank's role is going to be different. The banks are doing this for their customers. I see you taking a slightly higher level view and bringing a community together, or am I mistaken and you play both roles here?
Well, I absolutely agree with you that central bank does not give any money to anybody, and we don't give it to startups as well. So we are not investors. We're establishing a favorable environment for development. So the central bank started being interested in startups when we became a meager regulator, when we de facto took control over different kinds of different aspects of financial market, not just the banking sector. When we took control of that market, we realized that we need to go beyond this very narrow area where banks live with their regulatory barriers and where they are protected of all the externalities. Although Yuritsinkov thanked the central bank for that, but that's not the way we should proceed. We fully understand that new technologies, new processes will change the landscape we live in. And we see our vision as a two-dimensional thing. First, we need to eliminate excessive barriers for development. For that, we need to understand the modus operandi of startups, how they live, and on the other hand, what obstacles do they have. Then we need to understand that those startups will not pose any dramatic risks for their financial sectors. and they should not perceive as major risks, especially by people who are not financially intelligent, if I may say so, who are likely to engage in financial pyramids and other scams. So we are playing those major roles. First, we will develop fintech as a business area and will participate actively in establishment comfortable environment for startups. Second, we will consider risks carefully and provide recommendations to the market on how those risks can be prevented.
One of the things you've shown me this week, you've been heavily involved in our coaching. On the first day, Nikolai came into a room full of 10 startups. I got him a chair, I put him in the middle of the room, and I got the startups to pitch to him. This is a central banker, and he sat there, he listened, and he gave constructive feedback, and he's been doing that all week, so thank you very much. Finally, I'm going to come to you, Matthieu, and have you got water now, or are we safe? We're safe. Okay, so
on dry ground.
What's Swift doing in this area?
Что делает Swift? Конечно, здесь у нас.
What Swift is doing? Well, it's a kind of a curious situation because Kevin is the best person to tell that, but he is the person who asks a question to me, so it's a kind of test for me. But first, I think we should start with the Innotribe, because it's an unprecedented event for startups in the world. It's a real industry challenge. Russian companies watch carefully within Swift and in Swift ecosystems as Swift users. They watch carefully for new opportunities. Second, we have a Swift Institute. That's the agglomerate of educational establishments all over the world, and Swift picks some of them and consider different topics, including fintech, and the results are published with free access on the Swift website. And finally, we all have access to a Swift lab that works inside the Swift family. It's a very visionary institution. We consider distributed registries there, any other new technologies, all the new technologies that we learn, that we get to know as a part of Innotribe. I have 5 items to mention. Kevin will correct me if I'm wrong. Then we participate in the global initiatives. I think 4 or 5 years ago, Kevin participated. Thank you for the water. When we participated in various projects where we contribute our expertise in terms of standards, verification, and many more. As far as standards are concerned, as an authority responsible for financial standards, we participate in all working groups. And going back to the question why we do that, we fully realize that the grounds are the same, but new technologies bring some new specificities, and there are new communication formats, there are new ways to bring market players together. We have working groups in all those areas, and we participate actively in their work. We do that because we want to be a cooperative and our users want that. And Innotribe is a good example of that because we were asked to organize it here and we did. Second, being cooperative, we believe that there should be a joint answer provided to those questions, and Swift can work as a platform for producing those joint answers. And finally, because that's how we can be visionary in terms of our future.
I thought you said 5. That was only three.
No.
There you go. I've come over this side because I didn't realise I've got my back to quite a few people over there. One word that came out surprisingly only once was culture. And I think from an outside, or maybe from an Innotribe point of view, when I've been speaking to some banks around the world, it's not just about the technology, but it's also about the culture. I think somebody talked about learning from startup culture and trying to bring this inside. And I think this was you, Sergey. Maybe do you want to just expand on that a little bit more to talk about what you mean by startup culture?
Да, конечно.
Well, indeed, it's a great question for us too. The question about the innovation, corporate and startup culture that big corporations sometimes missing. When we work with startups, we learn from each other. We see how they work, how they think. And when we work jointly on different projects, our experts, our colleagues learn from them. And when the project is over, in our day-to-day work, we can see that people are different already because they learned a lot from startups. But startups learn from us too. We have a good example of double data company. We started like some couple of years ago. They were just a tiny company. We started with the pilot projects. And they were a little bit too young at that stage. They struggled to understand how banks and banking systems work, how it functions, and in those 3 years, they learned a lot and they grew much stronger from that experience. Recently, we had Startup Village conference in Skolkovo, and there we signed an agreement about industrial implementation of their products, and the company grew bigger to work not just with us, but with other banks.
To Sberbank, you used the word, what was it, rip-off and...
Well, no.
No.
Rip-off and duplicate.
Maybe it was the interpretation. So from a culture point of view, now that you've gone beyond the rip-off and duplicate, do you find you're actually, as I sort of alluded to in my opening, that by talking and listening you are actually learning and you're bringing that into the bank?
Абсолютно точно можно сказать, что...
Oh, absolutely. I can say that in terms of the culture, the bank has grown tremendously, learning from the outer world, where the outer world brings changes that we cannot really withstand. If we consider how we perceived a fintech as a notion, as a word, back in, say, 2012, imagine you placed yourself inside Sberbank and asked top managers if they know about fintech. I'm pretty positive that you would not like what you saw there. It would be a kind of ignorance. It would be a feedback of, ignorance and indifference. But if you walk now, visiting decision makers of Sberbank and ask them, do you know what artificial intelligence is? Do you know about big data? Have you heard about blockchain? You will find nobody who would say, no, I haven't heard, I don't know, or I'm not interested. So it's a sign of a good corporate culture to know about those things, to be interested in those things. As far as the practice is concerned, some of our top managers have already implemented parts of those things. And in doing so, they took up the risks upon themselves and they made this extraordinary approaches back at that time a common practice now. But we should make it clear, not everybody wants to deal with innovation. But I think it's normal to combine disrupt and business as usual. Yes, we need to think what the business will face in 3-5 years from now on. Unless we invest time and effort in innovation, somebody will do that instead of us. So we have already understood, realized, and are willing to take up the responsibility for the work that previously seemed irrelevant to the business, but now it is an important world.
Come to you, Alex, because your job title is essentially Head of Decentralized Solutions. You're Mr. Blockchain, but you're sitting inside what, to an outside person, is quite a traditional institution. So how do you sort of manage that? I know that we've got Sergey here and we've got some other people from the institution here, but how do you manage the fact that you're Mr. Disruptive Technology and you're trying to bring this in? Do you work with those business units to help them understand, as we heard, or is it more we bring it in to show?
We rather split it into 3 parts. First part is the everyday innovations, when we certainly interact with the startups and with all the providers of different services, and certainly there is no place for blockchain there, but there's room for other optimization, for cost reduction and other interesting things. The second part is protection from disappearing as a business, and here we see a threat from blockchain, and that's why I spend a major part of my time on this technology, because the central depositories around the world are responsible for accounting and the settlement services, and these two may be really captured by blockchain, and we pay a lot of attention to that. And thirdly, it's the new generation services, and we find it difficult to cope with them because we don't have a cryptocurrency department, we don't have a managing director on digital tokenized assets, and we have to create all that from the scratch so that the clients that we have and the clients that may come to us could get services with the state-of-the-art products. And so this is our tripartite activity, and only in one of the thirds we are friends with blockchain. In the first one we don't use blockchain, and in the third one we don't use businesses. We try to create something new.
Because we talked, when Alex talked about blockchain and talked about cryptocurrencies and things, I thought I sort of felt you were about to say something. And from a central bank role, obviously the collaboration with these fast-moving startups that your customers, your members are doing is obviously in their business interests. How do you balance that with the needs from a regulator to actually protect the end customer?
Пользователя. Well, the most common way of protecting is the licensing. That is a common practice that exists now. But we understand very well that licensing of a startup, of a beginner company, and of a mature bank, those are two different things. That's why the central bank came up with an idea of proportionate regulation last year, depending on the volume of business, but depending on the features of that business, but certainly we can go even further. We're planning to start what is called sandboxes, so that when we work with startup, we can understand whether they really meet license requirements, and or maybe something needs to be changed in the license provisions. Maybe we should remove excessive regulation and redundant barriers. It's clear that our work with startup is a deviation from theoretic work and an attempt to understand what markets really need. So we don't see ourselves as a tutor for startups. We see the central bank as a part of the new ecosystem, which involves investors, startups, schools that can train future fintech businessmen and experts that can work with blockchain, with big data, and so on. And while this ecosystem is being formed, we are open to the needs of virtually every party. We're ready to analyze and to provide recommendations to ourselves. So we start with ourselves about how to improve the regulatory practices so that new technologies and new companies could find it easier to enter the market and to be able to enter the market, because the market is becoming more and more competitive. That's what Cyril mentioned.
Looking vision, and not just saying these are the rules, you have to stick by them, but actually come into us and we'll work this out. The fact that you talked about maybe removing some of those barriers is, from where I'm sitting, a very encouraging thing that you very often don't hear the regulator talking about. I'm going to pick up on one word that you said, and I'm going to throw this to Matthieu, and it's ecosystem. I think SWIFT likes to think itself as part of an ecosystem as well. So how do you, from here in Russia, actually sort of interact with this ecosystem? And are you now seeing more of these early stage entrepreneurs that we're talking with today coming into that ecosystem from your side?
Безусловно.
Certainly. And Innotribe facilitates this, and I would say that what we are seeing is that banks and our users work more with startups like everywhere in the world, and they call for us to participate in mutual work. And our Moscow office works with other banks which do not only look at the ninth digit after the decimal, but they look at such interesting technologies. So what I've seen today and what I saw on Tuesday and Wednesday, I saw a colossal energy. Well, I really need to and that provides energy and culture and enthusiasm, and that's very pleasant. Yes, really, when we watch the initiatives by our biggest clients, when we meet the top management of the biggest banks. 10 years ago, nobody was asking SWIFT about doing something together in fintech. And this was exactly the question that was asked of us this morning, what we can do together within this technology. Even 3 years ago, nobody talked about that.
Do we have our results? We do? Okay, I have one more question for the panel before we find out which 3 companies that we saw earlier are going to go to Cybos. And it's going to be a nasty one. And for that, Matthieu, you can go first. What challenges do you face here in Russia compared to, say, the rest of the world, the barriers to collaboration, and what can we do to get rid of those? I think I'm going to come to you last, Nikolai, because I think you're going to be able to drive a lot of this, but from your perspective, what barriers are you seeing and how can we start to overcome those?
In the fintech sphere?
The whole collaboration, and you talked about between bank to bank, I think it's bank to bank, bank to fintech and things like this. From your perspective, here in Russia and CIS and surrounding, what barriers are there and what do we need to do as a community to start moving forward to actually live up to the sort of realizations of collaboration?
Наверное, и
Probably, and maybe that differs Russia and CIS from the rest of the world. We have a very good understanding at the level of the regulator, at the level of user, what safety is on the, be that in compliance. Probably it is for historical reasons on the part of the clients of the banks. And on the part of the corporations were not that active, and partially it may be because of the corporations are not regulated by the central bank. So if we talk about the future development, we should work together with banks on joint work with the bank's clients, and there's a much field for improvement. It was mentioned yesterday at the Congress. Banks suffer from a lack of qualified personnel, and that's a problem. Young people think the banks are very conservative and dull structures. I can say that is not so. Actually, it's a very interesting activity, and the products that we can create may affect lives of millions of people. So I'm talking to the young people. Do come to work with us. Do come to Sberbank. Do come to other banks, to SWIFT. We have an opportunity to become a world leaders in this area. Let's do that together. Спасибо. Challenges and opportunities. That's always a question that demands philosophy rather than a recipe. Well, speaking of challenges, that's certainly a transition to a situation when you open up maximally to the market. It means that you do not perceive yourself as a bank in the market. You perceive yourself as a company that should promote collaboration and joint action, and the startups and clients do impact that and other participants of the markets. So creating solutions that are in demand is not dominated by one player. It's a synergy of several players in the market, and that creates a value chain that makes sense. And in that sense, a capability of enter into a partnership and an alliance, that's a challenge which the banks have faced, and some of them really formed an association, but I do agree that the skills and competences, I had an experience of negotiating with colleagues from ITMO, a university in St. Petersburg, whose team has been winning the world programming competition for 7 years. They're talented guys, but they do not perceive a bank as a place where they could work, and that's a huge challenge for us. We need to think of something that will involve them and make them understand the scale And that's the challenge. We need to come out of our box and to change our mentality, and that's a big challenge. So I can see two challenges. The capability to collaborate and a skill of working with people who have competences who do not think they might be working for us.
Throw an idea out before sort of moving on. One of the things that you talked about was access to talent, and it may well come up again. Traditionally, we as an industry like to find talent and bring it inside. And I think if you look outside, a lot of the way that the industry is working, it doesn't necessarily have to fully bring it inside. And I think we as an industry maybe need to open up to a different collaboration model where we can actually put some of our challenges into this space. We can work with a university program and actually put banking challenges in there to get them to come up with answers where they are, rather than trying to bring them inside. So maybe that's just something to sort of, you're working with these people already, and maybe a way to actually get some of these challenges we as an industry have that are deep down and hidden, that are not for competitive advantage, that work across a community. And maybe this could be a legacy for Matthieu to pick up as SWIFT in Russia, to actually be a place where the industry can come together, share these challenges, and then we can share those back into the startup ecosystem, the academic ecosystem, to try and find a different way of solving them that doesn't involve you bringing you in straight from the beginning. And once you've solved them, help them turn into a small entrepreneurial business and partner with them and license them. So, Alex, challenges and opportunities.
The first challenge, the simplest that we have. We use hard copy documents in Russia. There are very few documents that are signed with a digital signature. And each time we're trying to collaborate with a startup abroad, that brings a lot of problem. Even signing an NDA and sending it is difficult. That's the first simple challenge. And the second simple challenge is the absence of adequate IP protection for startups, for what the startups create. Because I meet Russian teams all over the world, and the answer to my questions about how they protect their intellectual property, always the same answer: no way, we are from Russia. And that's a huge problem. Another traditional Russian story is a desire to have everyone on the staff. And we are in a very funny situation when the developer who knows the word blockchain easily finds a job, a salary of $10,000 a month, because everyone wants this programmer, rather than order from him or from a company, not to make the suppliers compete, but to have all the development in-house. This is a template that really hinders us very much, because it turns out that we create excellency center in each organization. We do not interact. And here we see a very useful initiative by the regulator to create an association and to unite our efforts and to gain some common results and a single marketplace or a single payment system, rather than a set of different things that compete between one another. And a global challenge, as the example of Uber showed. Uber comes to a new city and periodically banks start blocking the cards because they don't believe that you can travel by Uber for $1. But that's a technological revolution, something that threatens all of us, that there may be a company that will solve the final problem of the end client without noticing all the previous bureaucratic barriers. And it may come to Russia in a very unexpected way. And that's a global challenge, which we accept, and we are trying to protect ourselves from that through startups, through collaboration with companies worldwide which provide possible solutions and provide them fast. When the colleagues from one of the startups that spoke now said that they need 6 months to transfer to a new language, that's horror and nonsense. That means that when the company was set up, it didn't plan to be a global company. And that's also a problem that exists, that is typical for Russian startups. A company is not planning to go beyond Russian boundaries.
Slight offence with that one, because the company you're talking to started with English, which is way beyond the Russian boundaries. But finally, I'm going to come to you, Nikolai. I'm not going to talk to you about challenges. I'm going to ask you to end on a bit more of a positive note.
I'll try to keep it short. I will keep it short in order to evaluate the challenges and opportunities. We established our Finapolis, that's Information Technologies Forum, where we're trying to establish dialogue between regulators and businesses. And our plenary sessions and the sections names show what challenges we have. We'll have this event on 5th, 6th October this year in the city of Sochi. But focusing on the positive side, as you said, I would like to give the example. It wouldn't be humble to say that I was the one who invented the name for this section, but despite some sort of skepticism towards this very topic, unexpectedly, a couple of weeks before the event, we had a number of speakers, like keynote speakers and participants that went beyond all our expectations. So the name that I came up with was "Financing is Cool," and that people were excited about that, and I think that's the positive side.
Your esteemed panel, thank you very much. So I'm going to take the microphone from you, Nikolai, because I'm about to launch a surprise on somebody. So, we have our winners. We have our winners. Saskia. Yes. No, don't say no. Come on. I'm going to ask Saskia Devolder from Swift to come up on stage. I'll speak into this one then. I'm going to give the microphone over to Saskia, because we're going to go and find out who's won, and I'm going to ask you to hand over the tickets to Cybos and announce our winners. So, I'm going to give you the microphone, and I'm going to go and get a little bit of piece of paper that's going to make 3 people very happy. Hang on a second. Oh, ooh, technology. So I do. Yeah. See if I can figure out how to use this. Yada, 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 yada.
They sent you a message.
Yeah. Does anybody have a young child? So. It's not in that chat. Okay, we have 3 winners. I'm going to confer. So in no particular order, we're going to ask you to announce our 3 winners. We do have 3 large tickets to Cybos, printed locally, supporting the local economy, not because somebody forgot them back in his locker in Belgium. So, our first winner, 2 passes to Cybos, to come and talk to the world financial community about innovation and challenges in Russia is...
TalkBank.
Congratulations.
The coach misses when the team wins.
Sorry?
That's the time when the coach misses, the team wins.
Yeah, well, there you go. Next up, we have...
Als Forensics.
Sorry, right. Yeah, thank you.
And we have a problem because they've given me 3 that are highlighted in yellow and they've given me the wrong one. I'm just going to talk to you about maths because that number's bigger than that one. That's bigger than that. Sorry about this. Yes? Yeah. I'm going to do this one by the book. So, our final winner. See if we can do this properly without an Oscars moment. The third one.
Scorista. Yes, please, your ticket.
So, we can get a group photo with Saskia?
Yeah, let's do it.
There you go.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, it is. So, congratulations to our 3 winners. Commiserations to our 7 runners-up. And I'm not going to use the word losers. I do believe they're runners-up. You all did amazingly. We pushed you so far outside of your comfort zone, I'd say you were almost in a different country. Thank you for coming on the journey with us. Thank you for listening. And our last slide, if we can skip to that, please, people at the back. Can I throw something at you, Anna? And we'd love to see you all at Cybos, so you can learn more from these people. There'll be some food outside. Please grab a sandwich. And I say this at the end of every startup competition. Grab the startups. Talk to them about how they can help your business overcome the challenges you've got today and tomorrow. Thank you very much. And one last thank you. I'd just like to say thank you to the interpretation team, wherever they're hiding. I would not have been able to understand a thing without you, so thank you very much. Let me just...